Have you ever had a brilliant trading idea, but the gap between that light bulb moment and actually seeing if it works is just too wide? You have to source the data, write the backtest code, debug it, and by the time you're done, the opportunity is gone. If you could just describe your strategy in plain English and let an AI handle the implementation. In the software world, they call this vibe coding. Today, we're looking at vibe trading.
If you're a developer or quant, you already know the painful truth, right? The absolutely hardest part of quantitative finance is not coming up with a theory. It's that massive, frustrating technical gap between your hypothesis and actually getting a runnable backtest. Well, today, we're looking at vibe trading. It's an open-source research workspace that just completely eliminates that friction. It literally takes your natural language prompts and automatically routes them to market data loaders, strategy generators, backtest engines, and even multi-agent analysis teams. We're going to anchor this entire conversation around one central idea. Vibe trading removes the coding barrier so you can focus purely on whether your strategy actually works.
So here's our roadmap for the breakdown. We'll hit the vibe metaphor, the multi-agent swarm debate, zero-cost market data, memory and MCP integration, and finally, a grounded reality check.
Okay, kicking things off with part 1, the vibe metaphor. So, what exactly does vibe mean when we're talking about finance? You know, in software development right now, there's this massive trend called vibe coding, where you basically just describe what you want in plain English, and an AI agent writes the code for you. Well, vibe trading brings that exact same philosophy to quantitative finance. You don't start with a blank Python script anymore. You start with a plain English prompt, something like, hey, backtest Bitcoin on a 20 and 50-day moving average for 2024, and the agent just goes to work.
Think about the old way of doing this. It was grueling. You'd have to hunt down a CSV, clean up the data, obsess over look-ahead bias, manually write the signal logic, and then build a whole backtest loop from scratch. Honestly, that friction is why so many really great ideas just kind of die in our heads. But the new way? Vibe trading handles the whole shebang. It loads the right market context, generates the testable strategy code, runs the simulation, and drops a run card right in your lap, complete with returns, drawdowns, and benchmark comparisons.
Moving on to part 2, let's talk about the multi-agent swarm debate.
Look, getting a backtest is great, but relying on just a single AI's blind guess to analyze that result, that's a massive risk. And this is where swarm intelligence comes in. Honestly, it's easily one of the most novel features here. Instead of just getting one AI's opinion, your idea faces a structured debate using this built-in investment committee preset. And vibe trading actually has 29 preset trading teams. The system grounds these workers with freshly fetched market data. So you get a bull who builds the case for your strategy, a bear who actively tries to tear it down, a risk manager reviewing the tail risks and drawdowns, and finally, a portfolio manager who makes the ultimate call. The output isn't just a simple yes or no. It's a beautifully persisted report, packed with evidence, metrics, and most importantly, the caveats.
Which brings us to part 3, zero-cost market data.
Now, to power all those rigorous multi-agent debates, the system obviously needs data. And most people just assume that institutional-grade finance data is going to cost a fortune. But the crucial point here is exactly this number: 0. That is exactly how much you need to spend to get started. You can run real, legitimate backtests across global equities, crypto, futures, and Forex without paying a single dime for data feeds. And the way it does this is brilliant. The system automatically falls back on these highly capable, completely free data sources. If you ask for US or Hong Kong equities, it automatically routes to TI Finance. Doing A-shares, it utilizes MootDX, which speaks the native TCP protocol so there's no IP throttling, and it can even fall back to AK-share. For crypto, it routes straight to OKX or CCXT. Plus, it features a newly added opt-in local data cache. So if you're running repeated, long-horizon backtests, it just skips the network entirely to avoid those annoying provider rate limits. You literally never have to manually specify where your data comes from. The agent's data routing skill handles all of that behind the scenes.
All right, Section 4, Memory and MCP Integration.
So once your idea is tested and verified, you really need a workflow that seamlessly fits into your daily life. And there's this persistent memory feature that's super easy to overlook, but it's a genuine differentiator. The agent actually remembers your specific trading rules, your asset preferences, and your risk tolerance across every single interaction. It uses an FTS5 search index and 5-layer context compression, so vibe trading remembers all the specifics of your previous sessions. If you tell it your maximum acceptable drawdown is 10%, or that you only ever want to trade large cap tech stocks, it stores that. You tell it your risk profile once, and you never have to repeat yourself again.
And if you want to bring all this power right into the tools you're already using, the MCP integration is just incredible. If you're a user of Claude Desktop, Cursor, or OpenClaw, you can give your existing assistant a complete quantitative trading brain with 22 specialized financial tools just by adding 2 super simple lines of configuration. Because Vibe Trading runs as a standard I/O subprocess, it requires absolutely zero server setup on your end. So suddenly your standard everyday AI assistant can pull live market data, run factor analysis, analyze trade journals, and execute backtests directly in your existing chat window. It's a real game changer.
Finally, Part 5, the reality check.
Look, to treat you as capable developers and traders, we have to be radically honest about what this tool actually requires. Vibe Trading absolutely demands a capable LLM. You need something like DeepSeek V4 Pro or Claude 3.5 Sonnet to accurately utilize its specialized skills. Trying to run small, local models simply will not work reliably. They're just going to hallucinate answers instead of actually calling the required backtest tools. It requires Python 3.11 or higher, and honestly, it will rightly disappoint anyone looking for a magical system that blindly executes live trades without user-committed mandates. Vibe Trading is built primarily for research and simulation. Even if you opt into the Robinhood agentic trading support, it operates with bounded autonomy. You're talking about a file system kill switch, a pre-trade gate, and a strict daily cap.
But this transparent, slightly strict architecture makes complete sense when you realize where this came from. This is open source software built by researchers at the HKUDS lab at Hong Kong University. It's not some hyped up vaporware startup. They've even integrated this thing called the Alpha Zoo, which features over 450 pre-built quantitative alphas sourced from Microsoft Quilib and academic papers. And it's fully equipped with strict look-ahead bias tests and network kill switches to ensure pure mathematical integrity. Because of its academic origins, the focus here remains entirely on reproducible research artifacts.
And really that brings us full circle to the core premise of this explainer. With the coding barrier completely removed and institutional level data provided for free, what trading idea have you been putting off testing because of the coding friction? What hypothesis will you finally test today? Vibe Trading eliminates the gap between having a trading idea and seeing whether it actually works. You now have an autonomous research workspace ready to pull data, write the strategy, run the backtest, and fiercely debate the results with a multi-agent swarm. Literally all you need is the idea.
So to recap, Vibe Trading is a free, open-source, multi-agent AI trading research platform that turns plain English in global markets with no Bloomberg subscription and no proprietary lock-in. One pip install. Works with free data, supports your LLM of choice. If you found this useful, the link is in the description. And if you run into anything interesting while testing it, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.